So look, folks, we're moving fast here, but that's very important. The second part is called the online business cycle. Now, this is really crucial for people to understand. A lot of people think that you need capital investment, you need more money to put in your business, you need all sorts of things to generate a successful online business to 7 figures. But the truth is that you don't. What you can do is if you strategize everything correctly, you can take the revenues you make from your first sales and invest that into a bigger audience. From there, you can create a new product and make more sales. And this is how you can really grow your business fast. It also holds you accountable to doing the right thing. Because if you screw up in a step or your product isn't liked by your audience, then right away you'll immediately know that you have to change things up. I meet people all the time that have millions of dollars in seed capital and they spend it the wrong way because they don't have a feedback loop telling them that this will work. London Real started with no audience and no product and no revenues. We built this entire process with no outside capital investment. That's the way all of my students build their business. I show them how to make the first $10,000, the first $100,000, and they invest that back into the business, and it spirals up and up until it becomes $1 million and $10 million. And I'd like to show you exactly how we do this over at the diagram here. So come over to the board, and I can share this with you. It's a beautiful looking piece right there. I like it. And I want to share with you something that I call your online business cycle. And again, this is a really interesting concept and one that's kind of tricky at first to understand. And we'll just call it here your business cycle. And of course, it really is a circular piece. And I'm going to show you a few things on the inside. And this applies to really any startup, any business, any podcast, any digital brand, anything that's starting from nothing. And I want to break it down for you. Everything begins, as we saw earlier, with an audience. If you don't have an audience, you have no potential customers. Again, what's the purpose of a business? To create a customer, to solve a problem and exchange money for doing that service. Really important concept. So all businesses start with an audience. The intelligent ones do what I'm about to show you now. They create a product. Very, very important. And from that product, they generate sales. These sales go back in to increasing the audience. And this is a really crucial part, and you can see this diagram on the screen. This is your online business cycle, and it goes from audience to product to sales, and you can see that that goes right back into the audience. And I want to give you an example of London Real doing exactly that. And this is exactly the business cycle. And we're going to go ahead and put online here because that's exactly what we're doing here. And let's talk about an example of this. When London Real started, we had nothing. So I started broadcasting our podcast. I started posting on social media. I started writing blogs. I started putting little short clips of video to add value to people. I started building the audience on social media, and we started from zero. But that wasn't enough. If I had just done that, I'd be the person with 100,000 Instagram followers that still lives with mom. So we created a product. Our first product at London Real was the London Real Academy. And some of you early timers will know that you started enjoying that product. It was a $99 product, and it gave you 90 days worth of access to premium content, free webinar videos, success secrets, and a community of people that were just like you. But I didn't take all that money and go and buy the first Lamborghini. We took this, and I believe we made, at first, I think the first amount of money we made was $10,000, and then I think it went up to $100,000. And we took this, and we took this sales that was about $100,000, and we invested it back into our audience. How did we do that? Well, we built a brand new studio. We had the beautiful chairs come in, Winston the dog, we had brand new lighting, and this brought us a brand new audience. I think it tripled our audience at the time because they saw incredible content, brand new cameras, new video editing. We hired a video editor. We invested all of this sales back into a bigger audience. What did we do next? We continued the cycle. And next, we created something we called the Business Accelerator. And this was our first 8-week accountability course. And the very first Business Accelerator we sold for $2,000. We sold 10 of them, and we got $20,000 in sales. What did we do with that money? We didn't go spend it on a night out. We invested that back in for a bigger audience. What did we do next? Well, before we had started with just a podcast, right? Then we made a better studio. Now what did we do next? We invested in making movies. We made a movie with Dorian Yates, the movie with Ido Portal. We flew to Israel. We spent all that money there. Dan Pena went up to the castle in Scotland. And this year, I ran the Ironman race on 100% plant-based diet with John Joseph. We made more movies, which rapidly increased our audience even bigger. What did we do next? Sit on our laurels? No. We continued the cycle, and we started creating more products. We created Speak to Inspire, our public speaking course. We created Broadcast Yourself, teaching you how to create your own podcast in 8 weeks. And we created the Life Accelerator, which starts in January, which is 18 high-performance habits. These are all premium online accountability courses. This started bringing in millions of dollars of revenue. And what did we do with that? What are we doing right now? We're investing it back into our audience. Every single piece of our revenues goes back into audience, more product creation, which is more sales, which goes back in the audience. This becomes a flywheel, and it starts going faster and faster and faster. And that's why you don't need any outside investment to grow your business. I would argue you don't deserve it. If you can't build an audience on your own ideas and passion, if you can't create products, use that revenue to increase your audience, then you don't have a brand. You don't have something that people relate to, and you need to change things up to prove that this works. This is why London Real is unstoppable, and this is why my students have gone on to create million-dollar businesses with no investment whatsoever. This is how our students can make $20,000 and $30,000 during the course because of this flywheel effect, and it's a really, really important concept to understand and one that you can use really well. So, for the purpose of this exercise, I want you to do exactly this. I want you to pretend like you're London Real and you've just created your own online accountability course and you just made your first $20,000. And I still remember when that money came in, and we've since increased the price of the course because, you know, it's an amazing course. And we took that $20,000 and we invested it in London Real. And I want you to take this $20,000 right now and invest it in your business. What would you do? Would you hire someone? Would you build a website? Would you create marketing materials? What would you do with that $20,000 in order to build your audience? That's my exercise for you. I expect every single one of you to give me an answer. There's no wrong answers here, except maybe going out to dinner with this. Use something to build your audience. And again, type that in the chat right now. I want to hear your ideas. And while you're doing that, I want to share with you one of my students. His name is Jonathan Rainey. He's a Royal Marine here in England. And he took our course because he saw his career in the military coming to an end. And he was really scared about what he was going to do next. He's like, Brian, this is my whole life. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I don't want to work at Starbucks. I want to do something I'm passionate about. He saw the Business Accelerator and he pulled the trigger. He said, I know these guys. I've watched them go from nothing to something incredible, and I want to learn from them. And what he decided was he was going to focus on his passion for personal training and helping people get healthy and fit. And here is Jonathan's story.
I improve people's lives through health and fitness, but I also currently still have a full-time job in the Royal Marines. It was probably about 2 years ago that I knew that the career I was in, it wasn't for me anymore. There's something else that I should be doing. It was in front of me, but I just had the fear and I just couldn't see it. And there came a point where I was looking at myself in the mirror and I basically said, why am I on this planet? What am I doing here? I want people to be healthy before they're fit because they're two completely different things. If you really do hustle and you fight the resistance and you put the effort in and the energy in, it will work. I did another webinar, I had 25 people on it, sold a product. 2 days later, did a bit more hustling, didn't do a webinar, but I sold 3 products in 1 day, and now I'm up to 10 sales. So, proof's in the pudding. I was never one to really express and tell people and teach people what I know. You know, there's so many people out there that have such great ideas and they can bring so much value to humanity, and they don't because they're scared of the fear of what people will think, the fear of failure. But you know, you can look at failure in 2 ways. You can call it failure, or you can call it an experience. And throughout my career and my life, I've always called it an experience and not failure, and that's how I'm doing and applying it to my business as well. I guarantee everyone watching this now, they're watching it for a reason, because they know there's something else out there they can give. Stop feeling sorry for yourself, get out there and put the work in.
I love Jonathan's story, and actually when he was here at London Real Studios, sitting in the leather chair and talking to me, he gave me this gold coin that usually is reserved for giving to other soldiers, and it just The Business Accelerator really moved him. It really changed his life. It put him on the path to build this incredible business, to have the lifestyle he wants, and to give him the security and freedom to have a career after the military. And the people's lives that we changed always really affect me personally, and Jonathan did. I still have the coin in my desk, and it's really a special story. So I want you to tell me now, what would you do with that $20,000 that you're going to make? You could make this actually in December. This is usually when all of our students make the money on the course. Very easily, you could have this $20,000 in your bank. So I want you to think now, what would you do with these revenues in order to build your business? There's no wrong answers. I expect an answer from everyone to type it in, or I'm throwing you off this masterclass. Julian, these people aren't going to Vegas, are they? They're not going to the Gentlemen's Club. What are they doing with this money?
Well, there's a lot of ideas on how to invest this $20,000, Mr. Rose.
Okay.
But first of all, we have a couple of people who still think we're not live. Adam is asking, is this live?
Adam, how dare you? Do you have a surname for Adam or something?
I don't, but I have another person. Adrian says, something tells me this is not live.
Well, Adrian, look, the truth is there's a lot of people out there that do these quote-unquote evergreen webinars, and I think that's a bunch of nonsense because we're live, we're real, we're here to sweat and die with you until my voice stops. So we're here. I'm just pulling up the New York Times here, but it is October 4th at 9:35 a.m. and 2 key Republicans signal satisfaction with FBI and Kavanaugh. So I guess we're real. But yeah, we're here, and I expect you to participate and give us your answers. So let's do this, folks. What do you got for me?
Ernst Dupont, who's on our Speak to Inspire course, says website, book, transport bus, amplifiers, instruments, and a sound mixer. So he's really going for equipment and transport.
Wow, okay. So Ernst pulled the trigger on our Speak to Inspire course. It's 6 weeks. It's online accountability. Again, a paid price to action. He put skin in the game. We're working on his public speaking now. Sounds like he really wants to invest in the hardware so he can create quality video and audio content, right? Mm-hmm. And did he say website as well?
Yes.
Okay, good. So these are all good choices. The truth is these days, QVCA, right? What's Q? Quality. You have to have a decent microphone, a decent camera these days if you want to step above the rest. Back in the day, you could have bad audio and some bad visuals. These days, you can't. So I like those investments. The website is good, but again, make sure the website has a reason. On the third week of the Business Accelerator, everybody redoes their entire websites. People throw away websites they spent $4,000 on because ours does one thing. It converts traffic into an email address that then becomes a customer that generates revenue. So if you're going to invest in your website, don't pay some web developer $5,000 to make a pretty picture of you and an About Us section. This thing needs to have a lead magnet that generates an email. All right, so great answer.
Melinda, who wanted to teach those mobile engineering techniques and also potentially build an app, she says, I did have $20,000 last year. I invested it into renting a small office and applying software developers to help me produce a product.
Okay, good. Melinda, did that work out for you? I want to know. And I don't think that's a bad investment at all. London Real World headquarters here, it's this massive, massive space. It's absolutely stunning and gorgeous, and it's been a great investment for us because it allows us to do so many things here, have so many people here, which is really important. Again, investing in a team is crucial. A lot of people say, Brian, why is $100,000 something you always talk about for the business? Well, first of all, it's much easier than you think. Like I said, people on the course make $20,000 and $30,000, so another 4 weeks and they'll be to $100,000. But $100,000 is when you can really justify your first hire. And when you do that, you really start scaling. When you're just one person, you're really doing everything yourself, you're busy all the time, and you can never get to the next level. So I like this answer. I think you're thinking in the right way. Hire your first employee as soon as possible. Our first employee is standing right next to me, Mr. Julian Bales, and when he came on, everything took off. When I was doing it alone, nothing took off. There's a correlation there. Yes.
Martin says, social media campaign.
Okay, social media campaign is good. Now, you can do a lot of this yourself. QVCA, 50-50 rule. Remember, 50% creation, 50% promotion. Don't get stuck in your social media. We teach all the social media basics in week 4 of the Business Accelerator. I teach you the 5 platforms you must be on: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And the other platforms you don't really need to be on. Leave Snapchat alone. Leave it for the kids. It's a waste of your time. And I teach you only to use maybe 2 hours a week on this. Remember, we are producers of social media, not consumers of social media. The final thing is, don't hire some agency. Most of these people have no idea what they're doing. We are probably some of the most experienced people in social media in the entire country here because we do it every day. There's a lot of people that write books that don't do it every day. We have 100 million people that have watched our stuff. It's because we know how to create social media. I'm going to teach you the right way to do it so it doesn't consume you and you don't forget about the business.